What's up, everybody? My name is Kobe. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to become a professional mangaka slash comic book artist. And I know this kind of sounds kind of weird because I'm not, either of those yet. But this is the exciting thing about this video, because this is the exciting thing about this channel, because it's literally a documentary on how I actually become on this level, and then you get to see where I was at during this time, if that makes any sense. But this is like my playbook. This is my guide on how I'm becoming to do this. And I'm going to put everything in the description as well. But this is a very cool moment. I know this is not your typical art video, like where I show you cool art or whatever. There's no art in this video. This is like a documentary raw video. And it's really for those who aspire to be a professional mangaka or comic book artist. And the first thing I'm going to say is you have to grind every single day. You have to have the passion, which is more said to be done. Because like, if you don't have the passion, you're not going to become a professional manga slash comic book artist, because you're going to hit those brick walls where the only thing that the thing you have to have is that desire, that burning desire, and that passion to lead you the way. And, as well as I'm grinding every single day. For me personally, I'm drawing 5 hours every single day on my YouTube shorts. You see it every single day. I hold myself accountable. And it's a pretty cool, humbling experience to show people my bad art and stuff, because, even like professional mangaka or comic book artists, you never see their bad art books, right? You never see those bad art books. You're just seeing their final process. And I'm in, this channel and everything, I'm showing everybody the bad process of it, because, I could just, take weeks to render, a cool, drawing or whatever, but I get to show people the bad figure drawings I'm doing and everything. And that kind of leads me right on to not comparing yourself to anybody else. It's so easy. I've done it in the past. Like, I started drawing technically when I was 20 years old, and I'm 22 now. So, I'm actually about to turn 22. So it's kind of crazy, but, so I definitely had a late start to it. But when I was, especially in the very beginning, I still do it now. I think everybody does it here and there. But, always comparing yourself to the people who've been doing this for 10 years. I literally remember I was like a couple months in drawing, and I saw someone's sketchbook of like something like really cool, and I thought that I could do it. And it was just such a like bad experience. And it was like, bro, like, you're just comparing yourself to others. It gets you down, it gets you depressed 99% of the time. So that's one of my new things. I never compare myself at all to anybody, and I highly recommend you doing that as well. And also, take your time drawing the basics. Like I'm right now, every single day for about an hour at least, I'm just doing basic drawings of like, cube perspectives, or just like stupid blobs to get the 3D stuff, or just, just even doodling at nighttime, like before I bed, just like trying to grow my imagination, just like the basic stuff like that. But like the other lead on to that is to practice figure drawing every single day. That is very important, like doing like 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes, maybe, occasionally, like a 3 to 5 minute sketch or whatever. But like those are like figure drawing is like the most important thing, right? In comics and manga, it's like, that's so important, as well as heads, practicing heads, doing the same thing with heads, like timing yourself, pulling up, real life references and trying to do that, and comic, references as well. The only thing I say about, the reason why I like real life references more for faces is because it actually, you have to put your own style into the faces. Because if you copy from another, comic book artist, it's so easy to just copy exactly what was on that thing. And I think that's a good, it's good here and there, like if you want to do like an art study of like an artist or whatever, to see how they do lines or whatever. But I really like doing real life references for faces, because you're forced to pull out your own style. And also like even backgrounds, like, I actually have to, hold myself accountable to this, because I have not been doing any backgrounds lately. And that's very important as well in comics. I know, especially like in, comics, like DC and Marvel, is usually someone just, that's their full-time job, is just doing backgrounds, even in manga as well. But I feel like it's more in comics. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. But I need to make sure I'm doing, background stuff. Background stuff isn't as hard, especially once you start getting an understanding on shapes and everything. Because, it's just kind of like, I don't know. It's just like you just see everything as like a simple, rectangle, like houses and stuff. And, this is the juicy part that I'm getting into right now, is the short, the one shot. So I'm doing a one shot coming out on July 17th. And the reason why I set it out that late is because I know I'm not ready yet. And how I'm going to get ready, because I know that's like a big thing. So how do you get ready? Well, the way I'm going to get ready is I'm literally, the one shot I'm making, is I'm gonna do simpler one shots. So the one shot's coming out on July 17th is gonna be a 22-page manga. So before then, like even maybe like later this month or something, I'm literally gonna come out with just simple 1-page one shots, right? And then 2-page one shots and 3-page one shots. So I'm just gonna work my way up so that by the time like maybe like late June hits, I know I can just all grind for that 22-page manga that I'm gonna create. And also like also trying to still understand, the writing of it and everything, can be tricky as well for one shot. So yeah, so I'm basically, just start with shorter one shots, just a couple panel one shots before you try to do something crazy like a 22-page one shot. And it's, it's very interesting to see because like I know you're gonna see it in mine, like you're gonna like, especially like someone that's a beginner like myself, like I know that like when I put this 22-page one shot out in July, like I know like the first couple pages to the very end, you're gonna see art progression. And I think that's gonna be really cool and really inspiring for other people because like you're literally going to see art progression happen during that time in any beginner's work doing mangas and comics, which is really cool. And my next thing as well is I want to go. I'm gonna go to well, I want to, but I'm also hope to go to Comic-Con in October, like mid-October in New York City, to network and also to just get advice. I mean, like you can literally get advice from professional mangakas and comic book artists all around the world, in those type of events. And I'm not saying I'm going to get a job, but what I am saying is that I know I can get very good advice. And I'm sure I'm going to get great advice on here as well, but actually getting it from someone who actually like is a professional in the industry is like really aspiring. And these daily videos as well, like I'm promoting, this is like my, I'm trying to promote my art, and the way I'm doing it is doing these documentaries and stuff. And again, I know that like eventually I'm going to come out with like art videos and everything, and maybe show how people how to figure draw, or like even like where I'm at in art right now, like time lapse and stuff. I just don't have a drawing tablet yet, and also on top of that, I'm really just focusing on just like trying to just draw as much as I can by myself for now, unless more people ask for it. But I don't really know where I'm trying to go with this channel besides more of like a documentary of like becoming a professional artist, because I don't really think nobody really cares too much about my art yet until like I actually put these things out. So that's why I'm like not too worried about it, because I'm just not really ready to do that. But I think at the end of the day, if you really want to become a professional, mangaka slash comic book artist, you just have to put in that time. You have to have the passion, and you have to have the obsession. Because if you don't have the passion, you don't have the burning desire, you don't have the obsession, you're going to quit. You're going to get discouraged, and you're just gonna quit. You're just gonna quit drawing altogether, like I've done many times in the past. And you just have to find that ignition and that burning desire to just go and just do it, and even when you get discouraged, because like there's so many times this past week or two where I've been discouraged with drawing, but I just have that burning desire, the obsession to just understand why I'm doing bad, why I can't figure out these figure drawing stuff, and just learn, right? Like I just want to lead up to one thing. Like I was figure drawing today, and like I was just so discouraged this morning because like they sucked, and I just started looking at videos on like line of actions, like trying to go back to the basics, and like it was literally within like 20 minutes where I was like, oh my gosh, like my figure drawings just from like watching a 10-minute video on just some tips, like literally just changed me overall. Because like a lot of the times, especially in art, like we forget all these basic things, and we have to keep going back to them and keep going back to them. That way we remember, that way we really pass it down. But just remember, you have to have that burning desire, you have to have that passion. If you want to subscribe, because I am going to be releasing one shots very soon, and I think it's going to be very exciting to see. Like I'm 22 years old. I've had stories in my head since I was like 14 years old. So like my imagination is really gonna come to life with these one shots that I'm doing, and this is so cool for me because this is all in the making of like 8 years, and it's so funny because like a lot of times I always wondered, like, and maybe to resonate with older people, like I always wondered like why like I just couldn't start earlier, you know what I mean? Like that's always like the big question. But actually I'm actually right where I'm supposed to be. I believe that God has me right where I'm supposed to be, And it's very cool. It's very satisfying to just know that, and just know that, you know what, I'm actually right where I need to be. Because, you know, all these, you know, thoughts in my head, the art wouldn't be the same if I wasn't in the same position I am mentally. So it's very cool. Everyone's on their own journey. Everyone's on their own pace. There's people who may be watching this who are, you know, 30 years old, or maybe someone watching this who's, you know, 13. I have no idea. But everyone's on their own pace. Everyone's on their own journey. That's why I just want to I want to circle back one more thing. Do not compare yourself to other people. Much love, and bye-bye.